All right, I think I've let everybody in.
Perfect.
Take it away.
Hello, Luncheon Learners. I'm Lee Twig, and I am the newest education specialist for the OSI team. And it's been a thrill to join just a great group of educators and serve the wonderful schools in Alabama. Speaking of Alabama, I hope you at least have a window to look outside. It is such a beautiful, glorious day out there. I want to welcome Terry Roller, who's joining us today. And as the newbie on this team, I have the privilege of introducing our amazing presenters today. And actually, this was a super easy task for me because both of these men have really impacted my life professionally and personally in a really positive way. And I'm sure they're going to do the same thing for you today as they share all of their resources and all of the wisdom and help you become the administrator that you want to be. So please help me welcome the amazing Dr. Joe Gardner and AJ Buckner. Hold on, let me get my, let's see. Woo! Take it away.
In case you're wondering, this is Joe's first Zoom, so
thanks. I just, when you said that, yeah, I love that, AJ. Thank you.
It's usually me, so I'm just thankful.
It is usually you, but no, it was me this time. I get to be that guy that's talking away and realizes all of a sudden that his mic is on mute. Gotta love it. And okay.
So thankful everybody took the time to join us today. I know it's a difficult time at any point in time during the day, but we appreciate you honoring us with your presence. Dr. Garner has done a great job preparing a wonderful presentation for you. I think it's going to be very appropriate for not only your craft, but for your personal life as well.
And everyone, welcome to our professional learning lunch session. Plan the work and work the plan. Stop drinking water from a fire hose. And as AJ introduced himself, I am Joe Garner. I've been with the state for just about, going on 3 years now. Prior to that, I was a principal for about 20 years, a teacher for about 2 years, and a school resource officer for about 9 years prior to that. So I want to just welcome everyone again as we embark on today's learning. Today, we are going to talk about a principal's calendar who will benefit, holistic leadership a little bit, characteristics of a good leader, understanding of the principal's calendar, where you can access the calendars, resources, and we're going to discuss what your day looks like. So let's begin. I want you all to take a moment to think about your days, your weeks, your months, and the events that come up, your calendar, the scheduled activities, the unscheduled activities that control or dictate your time each day. Take a brief moment, think about that, and put in the chat what takes up the most of your time, either as a school leader or district leader. So please take a little bit of time, think about that question, and put in the chat what takes up the majority of your time. Dealing with fires. I see that. Oh, gotta love that. Dealing with fires. Discipline. Not managing people relations. Paperwork. Oh, we all love that. Social, emotional, especially now. Paperwork and pop-ins. Discipline and meetings. Emails, staff issues, reports, interruptions. AJ, thank you hosting the ALSDE. Sub shortage, that took up a lot of time. Observations. Dr. Willis. I like that. Observations, emails, meetings, discipline. Okay, now that I've seen what you all put in the chat, I want you to think about what you encounter on a daily basis that is just educationally related as the leader. And this is a mind map that I put together a couple of years ago regarding knowledge and skills of the high school principal and what can come at you at any time, any direction. And based on what I saw in the chat, it isn't the scheduled activities that get you, it is the unscheduled activities that get you and take up most of your time. My wife, being from business and industry, she was all she would tell me was, well, you need to schedule people or force individuals to schedule their time with you. And tried to explain to her that in education, that isn't really how it works. That parents come in, there's student issues, there's teacher issues, and everything's coming at you from different directions. You don't, if you took the time to just schedule all of your meetings and all the activities, first of all, you make people angry, but you would also do nothing but schedule meetings. In the mind map, you can see multiple main areas regarding education, the A through F report card, which hopefully will be coming out soon, co-curricular activities, students, accountability, finance, law, counseling and guidance, extracurricular activities. And at any point in time, you can be put in a situation where you either have to answer questions regarding those or respond to questions regarding those. In over 20 years of experience as a principal at all three levels, there isn't anything that I haven't seen or had to deal with up until this point. Social, emotional, students trying to kill themselves at school, to ATSI, CSI, community parental involvement, business partner relationships, career tech programs, all of those things that we have to know and be able to do puts us in a difficult situation regarding how we manage our time. And we often find ourselves where we feel like we're doing nothing but putting out fires, and we're trying to manage those problems that come our direction rather than organize our day and organize our time to keep the main things the main things. And I know we cannot control when situations come at us that are emergencies, but we can control other situations to where we can keep the main thing, and we're not drinking water from a fire hose. Take a look at this video.
Oh, Joel Miller, you just found the marble in the oatmeal. You're a lucky, lucky, lucky little boy. 'Cause you know why? You get to drink from the fire hose. Okay, you ready? Open wide.
All right, so the relevance of managing all the activities of the day with everything coming at the leader regarding knowledge, skills, requests, parents, students, teachers, emails, phone calls, it forces us or puts us in a situation where we feel like we're trying to drink water from a fire hose. And as you can see by the video, that does not work out very well. And I want to open up by talking about holistic leadership. And as you can see by the slide, I've put a scale in there because from the time we start our graduate work for an leadership certification, we're told, well, you got to find that balance. You got to find that balance. And is there ever really a balance to our daily activities, personal lives, community involvement, education, career, continued education? One of the things that research has shown is that leaders are more effective when they're able to lead authentically. When leaders bring their whole selves to their roles, they are better able to integrate their personal values and sense of purpose into their everyday actions and support those they lead to do the same. Now, take a moment, imagine one of the buttons on your shirt. It's round with 4 holes holding your shirt safe and closed. Imagine the thread that weaves between the holes, one from the next to the next, and so on, connecting the holes to each other and holding the button securely to the shirt and creating a tight attachment. The button may be pulled and twisted as you fasten and unfasten it. And sorry, I'll take a moment to let a couple of people in. The button may be pulled and twisted as you fasten and unfasten it. But when the 4 holes are interlaced well with that thread, the button holds securely to the fabric. The 4 facets of holistic leadership are career, community, family, and self. And as you can see by this button, that the holes are equal in size. There's balance between all 4 areas of the holistic leadership. But in reality, this is what the buttons on my shirt look like. You can see the career hole that the thread goes between takes up a great deal more time than time for myself. And then family, oh my goodness, if you're having a rough day at work and next thing you know, your spouse is calling, your kids are calling, there's this issue, this problem that's trying to pull you that direction, and you're trying to focus on what you need to get done at school. Then you've got the mayor that calls or comes by. You've got community involvement, and there's no time for self. When do I have my time to re-energize, recharge my batteries? And my button's broken and cracked. Is there enough time in the day to be able to do that? Now, is there enough time? Let's be real. This is what the research shows. Scientists recommend 7.5 hours of sleep a day to manage stress and for optimal health. 7.5 hours. I don't remember the last time I got 7.5 hours of sleep, but that is what's recommended for optimal health. A balanced scale in addition to sleep would require 8.25 hours for work and 8.25 hours for self and family. Data prior to the pandemic reflects approximately 72 hours a week is connected to work. And if connected to work 13.5 hours a day and 7.5 hours a day of sleep, 3 hours remain for life. And that's the family, that's the other issues. But it leaves a 5.25 hour deficit per day required for balance. So when we talk about, and they reinforce the need to have a balanced schedule, a balanced life, the reality is there is no balance because we're going backwards. If we get the recommended amount of sleep for optimal health and try to balance work and life, we're going backwards. What we and it's not all negative. I don't mean to be all negative about the time that we do have, because much of what we do is very positive. First of all, we get a chance to change other individuals' lives. We get to have a positive impact on our students and staff. We get to improve our community. But we must be smart about our time and effort if we have that time that is only limited for career, community, life, and self. We must prepare and plan, delegate, and empower. And part of today's presentation, the principals calendar that we will get into shortly, helps organize the activities that you encounter, what you have to communicate, what you have to meet regarding what you have to plan, and what you have to implement. Now, have you all ever heard the saying, the road to blank is paved with good intentions? All right, all roads are paved with good intentions, but as we begin each day, as we begin each week, as we begin each month, we have the best of intentions about organizing our day to be able to focus on the main thing, and that is improving instruction, improving education, and providing better opportunities for young men and young ladies to be successful. But when we get there and those fires come and we're trying to drink water from a fire hose, that road is paved with good intentions, but it doesn't always work out in our favor. Now, to turn intentions into reality, first step is to focus on change that energizes you. Focus on a change that creates positive outcomes. Focus on a change that is at the right level of difficulty. Not so easy that you don't feel challenged, and not so difficult that you can't make the change. Second step is, do you want to change how you act? Do you want to change, do you want to improve a skill? Do you want to make things happen? Choose just a few important goals, write them down, post them, say them aloud, reinforce those goals on a daily basis. Then you're going to figure out how. Your change plan should be built around four things: the tactics, what are you going to do, and when are you going to do it? Resources, what will you invest? What is available to you? What do you need from others? Tracking, how will you check how you're doing? When will you check? And then, of course, celebrating, how will you reward yourself when you achieve milestones and goals? Who will you celebrate with? And fourth, anticipate trouble. Things will go wrong. I mean, it's inevitable, y'all. We work. My last assignment was at a high school with 1,200 students, 100 staff members. Things are going to happen. But will those things that happen throw me completely off my schedule or my plan that focuses on instructional improvement, or getting the task done that I need to get done as the school leader? Anticipate the obstacles, adapt, find a plan B. Don't give up. Be on the lookout for troublemakers. Time, of course, is limited. Other people. Sometimes we surround ourselves, or we allow other people into our circle that can throw us off from our daily activities or daily tasks. Then, of course, fear is another obstacle that we all face. Am I afraid to implement this? Am I afraid to tell this individual to wait because I'm doing observations? Am I afraid to, tell the front office, don't call me on the radio, my radio's off, because I'm out in the building? Or you're afraid you're going to miss something. So anticipate that trouble and plan for it, and then change now. Take a step, take another, put your plan into action, monitor your progress, and make necessary adjustments along the way. Remind yourself to keep your eyes on the finish line. Keep the end in sight. Pay attention to your impact, meet failures head on, and then adapt and adjust. So we're going to get focused, and we're going to get focused through reflection, reflecting on what worked, what didn't work, reflecting on what I encountered yesterday, and is it going to roll over into today, reflecting on, you know, what's happening in the community, reflecting on what's happening at the state level, but reflecting on how you let those items control you or dictate your train of thought when focusing on what you want to improve on as an instructional leader. You're also going to choose what and focus. You know, if you're focused on 20 things, you're not going to accomplish any of those things, and you're not going to be great while trying to accomplish those things. So choose what you're going to do and focus on it. And the principal calendar that you'll be provided today provides a focus for you to be successful. Figure out how and plan, work the plan. Also have other individuals that you can communicate with who can also hold you accountable. In my case, those other individuals will not be my wife. And you heard from AJ earlier, it's not AJ because AJ's sarcastic. Just kidding. Love AJ and love my wife, but she is
Not the same way, not the same way.
No,
Please close.
definitely not the same way.
Yes.
But I need to surround myself with those individuals who understand. And if people aren't from education, they typically don't understand what we encounter day in and day out. And I see that we have some stuff in the chat room. Okay, real quick, and I'm sorry, Melissa, I meant to post this early. Register to receive credit and Power School is in the chat. And today's slides are also in the chat. Thank you, Melissa. All right, so as we move to the next phase of anticipating trouble, get support. Have, again, those individuals around you who can support what you're trying to accomplish as an instructional leader, an educational leader. Change now and revisit. So work the plan, change how you focus on keeping the main things, and revisit regularly. You know, although we begin each day with the best of intentions, begin each week with the best of intentions, and begin each month. And I learned early on, and I had a mentor principal when I transitioned into education from law enforcement. And he reminded me, you know, Joe, the great thing about education is there's always another year. If you reflect on last year's activities and you didn't get the results you wanted to on academic proficiency or college and career readiness or chronic absenteeism, make the necessary changes. But we are all work in progress. You know, the road is paved with good intentions. We are not perfect. We're work in progress. Our students come to us at different levels with different abilities, strengths, and weaknesses. Like our students, as leaders, we have different strengths and weaknesses. We are work in progress. Like the mindset for your students, you want them to be better tomorrow than they are today. We should expect ourselves to be better tomorrow than we are today. We can expect the best because we give our best. Check out this video.
Some people like to climb mountains. I like to build planes in the air. I grew up wanting to be on a wing, wanting to be up this high. Sometimes the temperature up at altitude will reach 60 below. It's brisk, it's refreshing. You never know what you're going to come across up here. Canadian geese, mallards, owls. These people back here, that's why I come to work. That's why I build airplanes in the sky.
We're not just building a plane here. We're building a dream.
I love this job.
I got a lot of thanks up here. When I look over there and I see that little kid, the look in his eyes, that's all the thanks I need.
All right, like I said, when we're not trying to drink water from a fire hose, it feels like we're building the plane while we're flying. We're going to take a moment now, and I'm going to turn it over to AJ to share with you the principals calendar, how it's set up to provide a greater understanding and help you plan the work and work the plan, so you don't feel like you're building that plane while flying, nor are you drinking water from a fire hose. And so AJ, here you go.
Oh, thank you, Joe. Excellent job of describing what we deal with as principals. And I know for myself, when I was thankfully selected as principal for the first time, I met with the superintendent expecting to be taken behind the curtain and see the wonderful Oz. And all that he did for me was throw me the keys and say, kick them in the butt. And so I realized real quickly everything that I didn't know. It's overwhelming. And so it was nice for me as we've progressed to think in terms of how do we mentor principals? How do we help people in their current situation? And it was so nice seeing the gallery today of folks with a wide variety. We've got superintendents in here, central office people, principals that are outstanding and been in their job for a long time, and some of you that's just starting out. In fact, I see one smiling assistant principal there that she's barely going, but you wouldn't know by her energy level. She brings it every day, and so I'm so thankful to have this opportunity to talk to you. And so, Joe, if you'll skip on down to slide 20, maybe.
All right.
We'll come back to those that we skipped. That one right there. And so what the principal calendar does is it's going to help us understand how to know what's coming, what do we need to prepare for, know the things that we need to be thinking about, decide where we can share the load with other people in our building, what actions are happening next. And most importantly, we just don't want you to be blindsided. But there's nothing more embarrassing than you to be in the middle of a wonderful day. You've got everything planned out, and you get that notification from the central office or from the State Department that says, hey, this is due and this is due today. And that just raises your blood pressure up a million times. And so those type things could have easily been taken care of before if you'd have known, okay, this month, this is coming. Let's go ahead and get my team together. Let's go ahead and organize that. Otherwise, you're going to have to shut down your whole day, bring people out of the classroom, cover classes, do all kind of wild things that just greatly change the way you do. And so the calendar is set up again so that you can review things, you can plan, and you know what you got to implement for that year. And so let's go on to the next one. Okay, so it comes in three varieties. We're calling one the checklist, the other delegation, and the final one is Excel. And real simple Sand Mountain Ease, which is what I speak, if you wonder why I talk so slow. But the checklist is purely about, do you having a clear vision of these are the things that I need to be thinking about, I need to be planning for, and I need to be implementing. And so it's a nice version for you without a lot of clutter in there. It's just really laid out and defined. The one with delegation was one that I thought was very important for me because I needed some way of going, okay, who's responsible for this so that I have a visual reminder, or when did we get this done? And so there's additional columns that have been added to that one, so that it helped me organize, and I know for you guys that think like me, it would be a wonderful thing. And then for you spreadsheet happy people, there is a wonderful version there on Excel. And so let's go down to the next one, Joe. With this QR code, you can have access to all three. It's all the files that we have. And so, guys, just know that this is a working draft. It's something that we will constantly be updating. In fact, the special ed department reached out to Dr. Garner and I recently and said, hey, we've got this activity coming up in December. We'd like for you to add a notification for this in November and make sure it's included in the things that you need to do in December. And so those type things are going to be happening on a day-to-day basis, but there's also things that will happen that will cause the calendars to be updated when the legislature goes into session and passes new laws, when the board meets and says, this is how this is going to be done, so on and so forth. And so as our calendars adjust, we will make sure that we edit this document and carry it forward. So let's go to the next one. Hopefully you got that QR code. That's pretty good, by the way.
Hey, AJ, if I could pop in for just a second, one of the things, excuse me, one of the things we're really excited about is that we've left it, and I know I'm trying not to steal your thunder here, AJ and Joe, but the thing we really appreciate about the calendars, we put it in Google so that you can save it and make it work for you. A lot of districts have used it to add their own local events or school events. Yep. So just like AJ said, we are going to keep the term draft on it because it is always going to be an evolving draft as our partners and initiatives and events come down the pike. We want to be able to update it with those things that are happening. So please know that you don't have to you use it in the way that best suits you. And that's why I really like that these gentlemen provided multiple ways to use the calendar based on, your preference. So back to you, AJ.
Thank you very much. That was exactly what I was about to say, and I'm glad that our minds are synced up one more time. But yes, you can copy any of these and make it your own. And I strongly encourage you to do that. If you want to put your mission statements on there and your mascot and you personalize it however you want to do. This is not something that will ever be something we take sole ownership of. We want you to make it yours. And so what I encourage you to do, if you do that, is to check back at least quarterly. And Dr. Shields, if you could put the link in for our sway in there so that they can see, okay, is this document updated? Then you would download it again, look at what you've saved versus what we've got, and make those changes at that point in time. I wouldn't worry about checking it in on a weekly or even a monthly basis, because not that much will change. A lot of this stuff is just good, solid material, but do customize it however you want, or you can keep the version that you're looking at today, and it will just be live updates as we have them. So it's a win either way. And so hopefully you've downloaded this and started trying to play around with this, and I definitely want you to do that, because what we've got here, and the first thing that'll come up is June, and so you start looking at June. I'm sorry, Joe, am I doing something wrong? There we go.
No, sir.
Go ahead. And so the QR code should be there for the calendars. I thought that was what the other.
All right, is it?
Yeah, right there. That's what they want right there. Is it sharing? Are you able to get in? Shouldn't be any problem once you click that.
All right, can y'all see the first calendar?
Because for me, having that access in June when things do slow down a little bit, and I've got some time that the building is free, I would strongly encourage you to go through the entire calendar in June and go, okay, what dates do I need to add to my physical calendar? What kind of things can I mentally start preparing for? How can I start thinking of my ASIP in terms of what needs to be done and when does it need to be done? And so the calendar lays it out month by month, just like Joe's showing you here on the screen. There's things that you need to be getting from your district, things that need to be coming from the State Department. As Mega comes up, we'll be putting links in there to say, hey, here's access to Mega. Down at the bottom here, you see where some things are customized for elementary, middle school, high school. Just as for you that work in elementary, no, we do not have all the dates and requirements for the Literacy Act in there. because ARI does a very good job of producing their own calendar and keeping you guys updated. And I know Dr. Karen Anderson will do the same thing with the Office of Math Improvement. And we didn't want to bog this calendar down with a lot of things that you're already going to receive direct support on. And so making sure that you have this document in hand so that I can look at it. You know, here we are in November. Yes, you should be looking at November, but also if I have an opportunity, I want to look at December. I want to look at January. You know, if I've got a spring PD that I'm going to be responsible for a half day, I need to look at what's coming after that spring PD date that my teachers need to be ready for. So that would be a great topic for you to have. And if you start planning for that now, knowing that it's coming, you're able to go, okay, I need to contact Sheila Holt or whoever my ALSDE specialist is and see if they can come in and support me with that. Or what learning do I need to do to be ready for that? Or who can I assign and support for them to be ready? And so again, you know, we've got the checklist document, which is what Joe's got pulled up there, which is just clean. It's just easy columns, less space, more about the events. On the delegation one, there's space for you to put who you assigned and what your completion dates are. And so that's a real easy one to follow for people who have the ability to delegate. I never had the luxury of having an assistant principal, but I certainly was one. And it would be nice as an assistant principal to be able to sit down with the principal and go, okay, this is what we've got coming up this next month. What's yours? What's mine? Where do we need to be? And it just forces that communication. And so it causes you to be more clear about, all right, we're going to make sure these things happen and we delegate this. One district that I've worked with, they've actually taken this principal checklist and they've set it as their own accountability, you know, making sure that, okay, I'm getting everything that I need done. And so as a district, they're adding things, checkpoints, you know, this is when our safety plans are due. This is when lesson plans from the district are due. This is when your benchmarks are due. And so they're using it as a catch-all to make sure that you're not worried about, oh, have I missed something? Where's it at? You're able to look at your calendar and know exactly where you're supposed to be. And of course, the Excel version is for people who prefer spreadsheets. It's just easier for them to get around and rock and roll. I don't know anything about spreadsheets, so you'll never see me open up this document. I don't want any part of it. But you take somebody awesome like Dr. Garner, and he's able to manipulate this and change all these colors and have things organized and get things going. And so whatever meets your preference. And so again, I know that I'm doing a lot of chatter here, but I hope that you pulled it up and that you're able to get around. And so as you're doing that, if you've got questions about where is this at or what should I be expecting or so on and so forth, just add that to the chat and we'll do our best to address that as we can. And then of course, hopefully you take this document and implement it into your craft. And as you get more and more comfortable with it, you know, Joe and I, our combined time as principal was about 1,000 years. So we've had some time in the school, but we're already 3 years away. For myself, I'm 7 years away from being a principal. So the things that are changing, the things that should be priorities for you, the struggles that you have, the things that you wish that you would know, we strongly encourage you to reach out to us, contact us through email. You've got our phone numbers as part of this slide presentation. You can reach out on Twitter to us, which a lot of you already communicate that way. However you feel comfortable, we want to make sure that you're sharing that with us because for us, we know nobody knows the role better than you. We are not trying to tell you what to do and how to do it. We're just wanting to come and help you. When Terry Roller brought this idea to us and said, wouldn't it be great if, all of our eyes lit up like, exactly. I wish I would have had this back when I started. I wish I would have had an understanding of where to be. And all you district level people, make sure that you're doing as much as you can to inform your folks as soon as possible. Yes, as Dr. Shields pointed out, this is not something you have to do. This is just something that truly will make your life easier. if you will just organize your thoughts. And when you do have those opportunities to sit and think, I hope that you'll take the time. You should be having leadership meetings, and this is a wonderful thing for your leadership meetings. You know, we're sitting here in November. We need to be looking at January and February going, all right, what's coming down the pike? What do we need to be getting ready for? Oh, yes, that testing's there. Who's responsible for that? Who's ordering those materials? Who's going to make sure that people are trained and all those things so that it's not a cluster? All these things, if you plan in advance, your blood pressure will go down and you're better able to deal with the adverse things that come. But when these emails come and these phone calls come, they go, this is due and you need to submit this plan. And you're thinking, I don't even know what they're talking about because I've been there. That has happened to me so many times, and it just changes everything you do for the day. So you want to make sure that you're able to do that. You know, I think Dr. Shields just put a brilliant point in there. You know, make sure you're so organized at work that you can experience life, that you're not spending your nights and weekends having to go, okay, I got to get ready for tomorrow. You've known that well in advance, and you've chipped it away, you've delegated, you've empowered people, and you've made it happen. Okay. So, Dr. Garner, if you'll slip back to, oh, let's see what slide that is. Keep going back up. Go. Yep, right there. The 4 domain. Yep. All right. So these are things that you understand. And again, looking around the room, there's some of you that we're already working with, but a lot of you are going, no, I just want this principal calendar organized. But just know that this calendar is designed from the 4 domains of rapid improving schools, that we looked at turnaround leadership, talent development, instructional transformation, and a cultural shift. And so regardless of where your school is status-wise, failing, underperforming, doing well, feeling good, all of us are in a state of school improvement. So all schools should be focused on improvement. So with turnaround leadership, you should prioritize improvement and communicate its urgency. You need to know what you need to be working on. And so monitoring the short and long-term goals with your data analysis and making sure that you're checking in and seeing what things are, and then making adjustments and customizing targets to meet your needs. For talent development, no time is more critical than right now of making sure that we recruit, develop, retain, and sustain our talent. We want to bring in the best people, and you want to grow them. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to have a lot of people in your building that are not going to have a certificate. They're not going to have the type experience. They may be somebody who struggled at a prior appointment. Those are the type people that you need to invest the most in, because all of us, we may just have been in the wrong placement. Don't take a person that might have got let go somewhere else as that's not somebody that can be. They have a heart for education, or they wouldn't have gone into it. So invest the time into them and help them. And even if you know you're going to non-renew these people, you've got 100+ days that they're going to be impacting students at your school. It is critical that we make them the best that they can be. Instructional transformation, again, you need to be able to know your students, know their data, not so that you can fill out charts and graphs and turn percents into the central office, but know your people so that you can come up with a prescription on how to help them, how to make sure that they're not just a statistic, they're not something that's going to be a burden to you and your school, but somebody that'll be a blessing, and you can brag about the growth, because it's all about the growth. If we make sure that our folks grow, and so we want to make sure we do that. And of course, a culture shift. You know, build your culture so that it's going to happen whether you're pushing it or not. When you truly build a culture of excellence in your school, you're going to find that everything that you need is going to be taken care of. So it was so refreshing in the 4th and 5th years of my principalship, that the decisions that I was having to make, the things I was having to stop and do, other people were stepping in and filling the gap, and they weren't waiting on me anymore because they knew exactly how we wanted to do it. And that was so refreshing to know. And it made my life so much easier because we'd defined the expectations, and I'd empowered my people to be able to make those adjustments and choices. So it's very important that you look at it from this totality. And I think it's pretty cool that Joe used the button graphic again, because that's where we are. That's what we need to make sure the other button, which was self, community, our school, and our family, stays in balance as well. If you'll do that for school, you'll have the time that you need. All right, let's look at the standards for instructional leaders. The first one is planning for continuous improvement. Doing your ASIP is not just a checkbox. It is the culmination of so much preparation and planning. You know, what it really shows is that you have a grasp of where the school is and the course that it needs to go down. And of course, this is not your vision, it's the collective vision. What your students see, what your teachers see, what your parents see, and what your leadership team sees. And so working together on that. And so it's very important that you as the instructional leader are in on this planning for continuous improvement. The next one is teaching and learning. You know, you have to be the instructional leader. You have to make sure that you are supporting, understanding, actively engaged, and providing feedback for all of your folks. You know, that is critical for you. Human resources. Again, we talked about this earlier. You want to grow, recruit, hire, mentor, and support your staff. You know, if you'll do this, your life will be easier. And I don't know. I got aggravated this weekend because I thought back to a time when I discouraged somebody from going into the profession, and it made me realize that when we switched to the tier 2 plan, so many of us started saying, I don't know that teaching is a good career for people to go into. Well, that was thinking of it from what was easy for adults instead of what's best for children. When we need to be our best advocates, we need to be encouraging people to go into education. And even if you're in elementary school, you need to be talking about being a student leader. How do you help grow? You'd make a great teacher one day. Plant these seeds because they're looking up at their teachers as a hero. Let's make sure they see them as heroes. The fourth thing, diversity. Let's make sure that with diversity that we're seeking diverse points of view, experiences, and voices, trying to see things from all points of views. Of course, we all know that we need to be part of our community. I would strongly encourage you to conduct home visits, ride the bus, attend the games, join civic groups. I mean, let's just be real honest. If we're not sitting at the table when decisions are made, we're on the menu. You know, if you're not at your civic activities, they're talking about how bad the schools are, and there's nobody there to defend them. So make sure that you're there and part of it. And if you aren't part of your community, why should your community be part of your school? Number 6.
AJ, real quick, Mr. Roller raised his hand. I think he has something to share.
Bring it.
I love you guys. I never thought about being on the menu. So I love that you said that you should have an active role in the HR piece. All of you guys are administrators. And so there's one thing from a personal experience that I want to share with you. If you have aspirations to move up to the superintendency, HR is a piece that you always take personally when you're looking to move into a district and say, hey, let me do good work. Let me recruit people. Let me hold people accountable. Let me take care of these students, right? So if you are looking to move into that role in a small school district, you need to keep this piece in the back of your mind. That is the most critical piece when you move into the role of a superintendency in a small district. And you need to create a buffer between you and the person that is dealing face-to-face with one-on-one issues in the district, right? Because when you don't do that, then you remove a layer and a barrier to hear the appeals when you're handling HR in that role. I want to caution you of that, to not take on direct one-on-one HR roles. Always have a buffer in place when you get to that small district superintendency, because I'm taking you 56 people in leadership that are here for this bite-sized PD for lunch and learn, that you probably are the hard chargers of the industry and you're looking to move into those roles. I want to caution you to phone a friend, talk to a friend, someone that's done this in a small district before, and see the value of keeping that buffer in
between you as the superintendent and the one-on-one personal deals, because then it's hard to say they weren't personal or political when you were the one dealing with it on the front end. So HR is so critical to moving a district from an instructional standpoint as well. I just want to give you that little heads up to be thinking about as you're charting your way and plotting your course. AJ, back to you.
Oh, thank you very much. And again, you know, it goes without saying that really all we're doing right now is a mentoring. You know, I love talking with Mr. Roller and Dr. Shields and the folks that Vic Wilson, folks like that have had a positive impact on me and help support me and whatever we're doing and however we're trying to do this. You need to have that for yourself. It is critical. Again, I don't care what stage you're in. You need to be looking up for help and support, and you need to be reaching down to help the people that have a few less years than you come up. You know, I'm gonna call one out. Marcia Sutton is an outstanding mentor. Her and Cheryl Askew are great principals. They do a great job of offering that support because they've been in the battles. They know what it is to be in the trenches, and they freely reach out and help their fellow principals up. And so it's wonderful that they're sitting here on this call going, I need to learn about. Yes, we all are lifelong learners, but they also have so much to give, and I know that they freely do that. All right, so let's look at number 6, which is being part of technology. Don't shy away from it. Don't shy away from it. Don't designate somebody else to do all your technology stuff. Guys, that's extremely unimpressive if you can't send an email, or you can't produce a slideshow, or you always have to get somebody to come in and do print your papers off or whatever. Dig in and learn that. Again, you're to be a learner. Now, of course, there's things you want to delegate, but you don't want to ever delegate because it's something you can't do. Be the master of your stuff. But one strong thing on technology: be active on social media, not as using it to stalk what your parents are saying and doing and that kind of stuff. The best advice I can give you on social media: snap some pictures, get your post together, throw it out there and get off. But you need to daily put something on social media that says, we've got excitement going on in our building. There's learning going on in our building. We love our staff. You know, anytime you can take a picture of your custodian or your lunchroom ladies or a kid that just finally made a passing grade on a test, whatever you can celebrate, do it. It costs you nothing and will take 10 to 15 seconds to do, but it makes a big difference. Yes, ma'am. Tell your own story. That is critical. Be positive. And so also, you know, I had a lot of success with making connections with the local newspaper and TV folks. They love having positive stories. And of course, they get a bad rap because they've got to cover the negative stuff. Just know that's part of their job. But you need to feed them stories so that they can have every opportunity to highlight your school, and they will not shy away from it. A lot of newspapers, if you'll type up a press release, they will print it exactly as you share it with them. And so as somebody already mentioned in the chat, tell your story, be the commander of it. All right. Managing the learning organizations, that's just being present. You know, I know some of you are going to say in your chats, you're like, you know, we're doing all these reports, we're doing all this paperwork and stuff. I get that, but you have to fight for your folks. You need to be present. It needs to be people by day, paper by night. You make sure that you are out in the classrooms, doing observations, being visible, you know, being in the car lines, being at PTO meetings, making sure you're in data meetings, making sure you're in PLCs, and not being in the corner texting or talking on the phone or whatever, but actually being present and available. It is critical that you do that. But something else that I want you to do in managing is I want you to learn to go find 5 to 10 minutes where you can, where even if it's your little safe spot bathroom, where you turn the lights off, you close your eyes, and you set you a timer for 5 to 10 minutes where you don't answer a question or anything. And so for you elementary folks, it's going to be after lunch. For you secondary folks, it's going to be before lunch. The reason elementary folks, for some reason, like to eat lunch at 10:30, I've never figured that out, but you know, just work that in your day, make sure that's happening, okay? The final thing I want to talk about is ethics, and we all know what ethics are, but there's just a true reality now. We are at a high standard for a reason. People have entrusted us with their most precious possession, their children. They expect us to be a cut above, and you've signed on for the job. Do not shy away from that. It is critical that we make sure that we are conducting ourselves the best we can at all times. And so a further caution, you know, avoid sharing your personal opinion. There's going to be things that just make you mad, things that you want, but you never know what the truth is of the person that you're sharing that with and how they'll use that to get back at you. So live your life like it's being recorded and that you'll have to testify about it one day. And if you do that, you won't ever have to worry about it. It'll take a lot of pressure off of you. So guys, I hope that you've played around with the calendars as I've talked a little bit there. It is a wonderful thing. Some of you have shared which one you like the best. Keep that coming if you haven't already, because that lets us know that you've got in there for it. But take it away, Joe.
Thank you, AJ, and well stated. It was posted in the chat, a question, which one do we prefer? I prefer the Google document with delegation, because I've been at a large school and there's no way for there was no way for me to manage everything, do everything, plan everything, and implement everything and communicate everything in a fashion that would do it justice. It was necessary for me to delegate, but having also been in an elementary school where I was the only administrator, we had teacher leaders we could delegate to, we had a school counselor we could delegate some things to, but through that delegation in this particular calendar checklist with delegation allows items to be delegated and then followed up upon, because you can delegate all day long, but if you're not doing that progress monitoring and following up with those whom you have delegated to, the work may not get done and the focus will shift from what it takes to be a strong instructional leader. Part of what I wanted to share today was the characteristics of a good leader, and 3 core beliefs. You know, good leaders are made, not born. Leadership is a skill that can be developed. Good leaders are molded through experience, continued studies, and adaptation, but they're also molded through the relationships that they have with mentor leaders. AJ spoke of Mr. Roller. Mr. Roller has been a very strong mentor to many school leaders or educational leaders in the state of Alabama. He has a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of resources, but he's also real. Yeah, it's important. You need those individuals around you that will be honest and transparent. So if you start going down that path or going down the road you shouldn't go, that they can redirect you and do it in a way that is positive and focusing on growth, not beating you down. Good leaders are molded through experience, continued study, and adaptation. But good leadership isn't about just one individual. Leadership is a social process. It is less about one strong or charismatic individual and more about a group of people working collectively to achieve results together. The school's success is not solely dependent on the leader, the principal, or the central office. It takes everyone working together to move forward and improve in all the areas that we need to improve in, because it's about providing those best opportunities for young men and young ladies to be successful. And, you know, I had to keep that mindset that it's not about perfection, it's about excellence. And that is all, we can all work toward excellence and achieve excellence in multiple areas, some at a faster pace than others, but, you know, it's not perfection, it's excellence and the pursuit of that excellence. And good leadership never stops. Leadership isn't a destination, it's a journey. Different teams, projects, and situations will provide different challenges and require different leadership competencies to succeed. As a building level principal or central office administrator, the sun rises and sets on you as a leader. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you write will come under great scrutiny. And it'll be on social media, depending on what you do, what you say. So keep that in mind as you continue to move forward, that every word matters. Every word counts, whether it be spoken or written or through the planning process, it matters. The 10 essential leadership qualities, first being integrity.
Okay.
You have to demonstrate integrity in all that you do because people are watching every action, listening to every word. But we're going to spend a little bit of time today focusing more so on delegation and communication. Just keep in mind that these are our 10 essential leadership qualities, but we are going to move on to delegation and communication and move through those pretty quickly. Dimensions of trust for delegation. Because being successful as a leader is an outcome of multiple people working collaboratively, it's necessary that you delegate and you work with team members. And selecting those team members requires, or the success requires, a level of trust. Trust of character sets the tone and direction for the teamwork. It represents mutually serving intentions and is a starting point for team relationship. Team members care about one another as people and hold each other's best interest in mind. It is the foundational dimension for delegation. This trust is built when team members do what they say they're going to do. And the second, trust of communication. It fuels collaboration and provides a safe environment for team members to talk with each other. It allows team members to work through issues and concerns while providing transparent communication. Trust of communication creates an environment of collaboration that teams need to survive. And then the third dimension is trust of capability. It opens the doors for team members to contribute and to use their knowledge to make a difference. It is built by leveraging the skills and abilities of one another, seeking each other's input, engaging in decision-making, and teaching one another new skills. Trust of capability helps create a culture of innovation. And when I worked with my leadership teams and selected individuals to be on the leadership team, I didn't want the leadership team to be just like me. I needed individuals who could think differently and do differently. I needed some that were more organized, list makers, task check off. I needed some who could proofread information that I was putting out, whether it be the ASIP or just regular email that was going out to the school community. So my success in building a leadership team was selecting individuals that were not like me. And I'm okay with people who think differently. I'm okay with people who do differently. I'm okay with people who challenge the status quo, because through those challenges and dialogue, that growth and understanding happens. But then we've also got the communication aspect. I want you to think about communication as a lever you need to help you, your team, and organization to survive and thrive. Leaders can pull the lever of communication to help relieve the pressure. Think about a water pipe that is under extreme pressure and fluctuating pressure. Recently, I replaced a pressure regulator on my house because the water was pulsating coming into the residence. Well, if the pressure builds up too much, that pipe's going to burst. So the communication aspect and delegation aspect of what you do as a leader is extremely important. And these are some tips for communicating under pressure. Open the taps, communicate up, down, and across the organization. AJ talked about leading upward and leading down, but also lead across. Communicate up, down and across the organization. You can't assume that everyone knows and understands. And quite frankly, just because I say it a certain way and I understand what I'm saying, doesn't mean that everyone else is going to understand what I'm saying or what I'm trying to communicate. Message sent and message received are sometimes different things. Make communications regular, consistent, and expected. Solicit feedback and make sure you're listening. And all of these items, whether it be delegation or communication, are built into the principal's calendar as well. So the second one is release all the valves. Don't assume you know how others feel. Intentionally create time and space for new voices and try to create an inclusive leadership culture. And the third one is know what's in your toolbox. Be honest about your sphere of influence and control and help others see their own. When you step back, someone has a chance to step forward. Some of the best leaders I've ever had an opportunity to work with or mentor or develop have been some that doubted their ability to begin with, some that never wanted to take that next step into leadership from teaching, but through encouraging and dialogue and relationship building was able to get them to take the next step and become an educational leader. And those are really some of the best, most effective leaders that I've had an opportunity to work with. Number 4, ask for help. Acknowledge your own struggles with leading under pressure and help others do the same. Take active steps to help yourself and others increase resiliency as leaders. You know, one of the things that AJ talked about is owning what you do and owning your knowledge and skills and application of that knowledge. But part of that is also understanding and recognizing your weaknesses as a leader and seeking support and mentorship to help you grow in those areas. And 5th, get back to the basics. Help your people reconnect to the purpose. Team needs to feel like an integral part of the organization's mission. Take a deep breath and invest time into helping others make the connection on why their work matters. And 6, don't get swept away. Identify opportunities to delegate effectively and facilitate trust building and development of others as you go. The skills leaders use every day to bring people together around a common goal, the various skills that will help you attract and retain talent. And 7, final, enjoy the ride, enjoy the process. We have great opportunities as educational leaders to change the lives of others. If we take that lightly or we become stagnant or don't find the value in what we do day in and day out, then we're doing a disservice to those we serve, and we serve our students, the communities that we serve. So celebrate also. And this slide also provided a list of resources. All of these are in the Google Drive for the principal's calendar that you have access to. And I want to take a brief moment, Mr. Roller, if you are available, do you mind sharing with them your thoughts and how you grew to see the value of a principal's calendar?
So thank you, Joe. AJ, Joe, outstanding job again today as usual. So, you know, just like everybody else, you know, you guys step out on the ledge. When you were a teacher, you took lead teacher roles. If you were a coach for a club or activity or an athletic program, you stepped out, you spent time with students away from the classroom, making a difference in their life. When you were in that classroom role, you were actually serving as a teacher leader, right? You served on the RTI, you served on all of those deals. And then you sought to do the job for free that you hope to get paid for someday. Remember that. Be willing to do the job for free that you hope to get paid for one day. Be willing to do the job for free that you hope to get paid for one day. But when you became an assistant principal, you really acted like a lead teacher with extra duties until you figured out exactly what it was you were supposed to do. For those of you who have done it, I see your head shaking like, yeah, that's what I was doing. Yeah, yeah. But then after you did that for 3 to 5 years, whatever it was, and you became a principal, you really acted like an assistant principal right? Until you learned how to be a principal, because there was no one really showing you how to be a principal. There is no manual on what to do day one as a principal. You kind of show up and you look around, they give you this roll of keys, you don't know what they go to. Funny story, my principal handed me a 5-gallon bucket with keys in it and told me to go
Head to
match them.
trials, and they'll all be from the same.
My principal handed me a 5-gallon bucket of keys and said, go try all the doors and label these keys. I was like, are you serious? Are you hazing me? Is this a joke? Are you for real, for real, for real? Right. And so that's how you get your duties as you're trying to figure out what it is you're supposed to do. And so having gone through that experience and would reach out to people to help me, I didn't know what I didn't know. And because what I didn't know, I didn't do things with intentionality. And so I was always doing things at the last minute. So as you're doing things at the last minute, you're never prepared and settled enough to get in there and do what you really, really, really need to do. 2 decades ago, when I started this, principals could even say the words disaggregate data. So that tells you where they were instructionally, right? You couldn't even say disaggregation of data, then you probably weren't doing it. And so what ended up happening was you had to really diversify your skills and be able to get out there and do so much more while running a school and doing the management and doing the day-to-day stuff. And so what this calendar did was we went out and we grabbed pieces and bits of books and publications and websites and people's leather bound journals that they had under their calendar on their desk as principals. And we assembled all of these activities and duties, and then we put them in a ranking order with sort of whatever you planned for this month, you communicated it this month, and then you actually carried it out the third month. So it kind of gave you like a 90-day look at what you needed to be doing so that you could go ahead and get your lives in order and meet those valuable deadlines, but also be able to prioritize your ability to get in the classroom and do instruction with people. So this is something that we've been doing for a while. Many of us have, but what we did was we shared it with this outstanding school leadership, school improvement team, the Office of School Improvement, and we let these geniuses work on it and make it this beautiful document that you can type in and click on and do it electronically. And it's really just a resource and another tool to help you organize your life, keep yourself moving forward so that you can put your priorities first, your first things first, leader and me, and then get in there and do what's most important. And that's leading the instruction so that you can change the lives of young people. Joe, AJ, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Roller. And y'all, we also have another guest with us today from the State Department. Bonnie Short, are you with us?
I'm with you. How are y'all
Hey.
today?
We're good. Would you like to introduce yourself and say anything?
So if you are in secondary world, you don't have a clue who I am. If you are kindergarten through third grade, you're like, oh yeah, we hear from her all the time, more than we want to. My name's Bonnie Short. I am the coordinator of the Alabama Reading Initiative, so K-3 literacy. And I'm so thankful for this group that reaches out and says, hey, how can we support our schools with regard to the Literacy Act and building things like this that really work to support principals. Loved listening to the parts that I've heard so far, and thinking about delegation. I think people either do that really well, too well, or they don't do it well enough. It's hard to find that place in the middle where I don't release too much, but then I'm letting other people do. And like Terry said, you want to have people who want to have the job they want to have in the future. And so not only do you want to do the work for the job you have in the future, but you want to find those people who really have a passion to move forward and move our children forward and who can do things. And I always say, I don't have to be the smartest person in the room. I just have to know who is for that given situation. So, they mentioned about editing. I am not the best editor in the State Department ARI team. I know who I'm going to take things to edit my things, and that they're going to find things that are going to make it be presented better. And I know y'all are on the front line, like Joseph said earlier, and sometimes you are, it's tough because they're looking at everything you do, but the schools don't function without you. And your school is a reflection of who you are and how you lead. So thank you for letting me be here today.
Thank you very much, Bonnie. And, I want to reinforce, because this to me is far more important than, anything else we do with regards to our heart and our head being balanced with our knowledge, skills, and implementation skills is why we do what we do. And this is a quote from Jimmy Cassis. We are blessed every day with the opportunity to help change the course of someone's life with our words, our actions, and our belief in their abilities. By changing our perspectives, we can change lives. So y'all, if you start the day, week, month, and even year with the best of intentions, and you find yourself not accomplishing what you want to accomplish or what you need to accomplish as an instructional leader, this principal calendar is a resource and a tool, not a dictate, not a compliance monitoring tool, but a resource to help you organize your time as an instructional leader to focus on what needs to be accomplished for school improvement, but keeping the main things, while also tying together the 4 domains of school improvement. So keep that in mind. And 3 tips for living out holistic leadership. Define how you currently devote your energy and attention. If you were to draw in the buttonholes on your own button, like we showed at the beginning, to what proportion would your buttonholes be? And would there even be a thread that connects all those buttonholes together and holds it to your shirt, regardless of whether you twist, pull, tug? Don't overlook your mental energy. Ask yourself how you want to allocate your energy in the future. Key component. If you don't want to devote the energy and time to changing, you're not going to change. So you need to take the time to devote or allocate your energy to the future. And then 3rd, determine the adjustments required to make the appropriate shifts. Be intentional about how you spend your time, gives you a sense of control and ensures you're leading in accordance with your values. And that is all I have. AJ, you want to close us out?
Yeah, I just want to say real quick that for me, going into the role of principalship, I realized just how absolutely lonely it was. It's very hard for you to be vulnerable in your building. It's very hard for you to not have the answer, because people are going to come at you with questions all the time. And so I think it's critical that you look around this call and go, okay, who are like-minded people? Mr. Roller pointed it out. I mean, you are the people who are striving to be better, striving to get ahead, striving to be the best you can for your students. And so I would take note of who's here. I know for me personally, I took two principals that I knew had similar situations. They were miles apart. They would never meet each other, but by putting them together, they realized real quick that they could support each other, that they had common problems, and they were able to openly talk about community issues, faculty issues, extracurricular issues, and realize, oh my goodness, I'm not alone in this. And so take the time to find those people that you can connect with. Be vulnerable. Find folks that you can truly be yourself with and be vulnerable, because we are not perfect. We are not designed to be perfect. We're not going to have all the answers, and it's not always going to go well. And so if you don't allow yourself to find a shoulder to cry on, hopefully it's a spouse, hopefully it's a friend, but sometimes we got to look around this room and go, okay, who can I be honest with to say, I'm not okay. I'm really struggling with the pressures of what's going on, because just by saying that, you'll release the steam that's building up inside you that leads to burnout. Do not allow that to happen. And the final thing is, it's truly a growth mindset. You are not ever going to learn everything you need to know. And so just be constantly evolving and growing. And so when we looked at this, we didn't want this to be one more thing or a compliance thing or something you felt forced to do. We just wanted to do something to help you organize yourself and maybe take some things off of you. And that's how you want to do. When we add something, we need to look to take something away. but always be looking at how to refine yourself. And so, guys, I'm so thankful that you've chosen to share this time with us. Anybody that you know that you think would benefit from what we shared today, the links will be available for this to be shared. And so you can take it to your peers. You can send it to someone else, but just know that the State Department is truly designing itself to be an asset for you and not an instrument of compliance. And so we want to make sure that we're here for you. And the three big bosses that are here, Ms. Short, Mr. Roller, and Dr. Shields, by all means, they carry that forward. They want to know how they can help you. And so I'm just honored to be here to help and support you. And Dr. Garner, thanks for everything you've done to make this happen today. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today.
Oh, yes. Make sure you register for this. Got to get credit, people.
Now, AJ, I was just talking away again, and you didn't tell me that my mic was muted. Thank you.
No,
Thank you,
you're
Mr.
good.
Roller. But if you would, we welcome your feedback. This is a QR code that will take you to the Google document to provide us with some feedback regarding today's presentation. So if you don't mind, please take some time and do that. And it's also how we will check for attendance as well when awarding the professional learning credit. So please take your time to do that. Thank you for being with us. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And folks, I put some upcoming sessions. We're going to look at calendars before we schedule a December session because we know what December's like. But we got from your feedback, you wanted some more focus on scheduling, interventions in the middle high school, proficiency skills, ACAP resources. So we've got those tentatively scheduled in upcoming months and more information on that. Joe, AJ, amazing job. Thank you so much. I'm loving the feedback. But most importantly, we want you, speaking of social media, tag us, email us, let us know how this is working for you, because we just rolled this out in July at Mega, and we have already tweaked it a bit. So we covet your feedback. Hey, have you thought about adding this? We've done that a number of times already. We thank Bonnie and AMSTI and Special Ed and all of our partners that we do, just like they said, we're just one big family that we work to support you. So we will continue to grow that document as our education and initiatives continue to evolve as well. Thank you all. And we'll stay on a minute in case you got any questions for these two